Mumon Kan, case 34, wisdom is not Tao. Here Nansen says, mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. Master Nansen of the line of Baso Doitsu Zenji, who had three top disciples. The one that was famous for his functioning and his way of Zen was Hyakujo Zenji. The one for the sutras and the historical angles doctrine of Zen was his disciple Chizo, and only Nansen was totally incomprehensible, even to the great Baso Doitsu Zenji. Of the 84 deeply awakened disciples of this line, there were none to compare with Nansen. Hyakujo, known for his functioning, Chizo for the sutra wisdom, only for Nansen he could not comprehend him whatsoever. And here it is Master Nansen who is saying, mind is not Buddha, wisdom is not Tao. The Buddha taught that we are all Buddha nature about our mind, and referring to all beings and not just humans, but sentient and non-sentient beings, animals, minerals, plants, all included. If that which connects all beings, it is that which connects all beings, that is Buddha nature. And yet Nansen here is saying mind is not Buddha, wisdom is not Tao. Nansen is talking about what it is that connects all beings. So the Buddha said it was Buddha nature. Nansen says that any awareness of the fact of that is not the path. Joshu, Nansen's top disciple, was awakened when he was in the koan, everyday mind is the path. Joshu asked Nansen, what is the path? For all existences, people, animals, roads. As Sanso Kanchi Zenji had written in the third patriarch, has said, on faith and mind, the true path knows no difficulties. This path which all beings go on equally, this has to not be confused with the everyday human's external path. It is said the great way knows no difficulty. This is referring to the way of our mind. In Confucianism, it is taught the orders of heaven, this is our true nature. To follow those orders of heaven in accordance with our true nature, this is the path. The natural way of the universe. We are equally lived through by this, and it does not mean we can just do whatever we want to. Birds fly. Fish go around in water. A man is a man, a woman is a woman, a child is a child. Without going against our basic nature in that way, we live in accordance with our nature. To live like this, to live in that way in accordance with our nature is our true nature. So how should we live that way of seeking how to accept all others in this way? Joshu asked Nansen, what is the path? And Nansen answered him, the everyday mind is the path. This is a rather foggy translation. It's also called the matter of course mind. The natural mind is the path. Joshu then asks, how do we get this everyday mind? Nansen says to Joshu, if you try to get it, then it's no longer an everyday mind. So Joshu continues, but if we don't try to get this everyday mind, how then can we get it? How is it possible? Everyone caught on their own ideas and their own individual way of thinking they could go. If we don't know this path, how can we follow it? Nansen then answers, if we think we have to know it, then we are just like something that is going in accordance with our idea of it in the way that a dog or a cat does its everyday thing. If we do whatever we want to, then that is not the path either. So knowing or not knowing is not what it is. It is not done by knowing it, nor is it done by not knowing it. It is the path of no hesitation and no doubt as our mundane daily life is lived, such as using naturally tea ceremonies we've used so many times, naturally, smoothly, second nature, for this to become the way is also the way the paths of tea, judo, flower arranging have been taught from old. Every day we are using it in our daily life. Naturally, it becomes nothing special. It is born from the everyday use, the way to naturally do something in a second nature way, without any hesitation and any doubt. And then a huge, wide open, spacious state of mind is born from living in that way, free of any obstruction, completely free, yet also completely in accordance with the way of the universe. Hearing this from Nansen, Joshu was deeply awakened. And here it says in this koan, mind is not Buddha, wisdom is not the path. Because our mind is not ego and dualism, but natural Buddha nature. But if we think of it as something called a Buddha nature, then that it is not the Buddha nature. Wisdom is not Tao. Entering a Zen dojo when it is sesshin, they ask everyone to please give everything to doing the practice with both your body and mind. But he, when he was given these words, did not know what it meant. At first, he didn't know what they were talking about. Because the words are talking about body and mind, which are two of the same sounding words. Of course, they cannot be separated, our mind and our body. Without our will, our body does not move. These words are saying the Dharma body and the physical body to be used together. A physical body we can see, but what is a Dharma body? How can that be seen? We do zazen in our daily practice and find refuge in our deep mind, nor does our body move around all by itself. And so we need a path. The sixth patriarch taught the path of our lineage is to be able to know this place where we are without extra thoughts, where we are without form, and we are without abiding. What does this mean, be without extra thoughts, without extra thinking? It means that in every one of our continuing mind moments, we are not caught on any of them or on anything in their content, to not be caught on any idea such as what is coming next, to stay in this very present moment only. When we see something, to just leave it at that, just see it, not add on ideas and judgments about it, not add on any extra thinking whatsoever. But because we are so busy planning all day, we are never in the present, and that's what makes us very tired out all the time. Then we have the second, to know that state of mind, of being of no form. Our mind, it has no form, and so it is not born and does not die. Our physical body does have a form, and so it has a birth and a death. But when we see that, there is an eternal aliveness as well. We all mutually see that. Though this body, this physical body decays, everyone is connected by this formless mind which does not decay. Third is that there is no abiding nor residing, no stagnancy. In the same way as when a great river flows down and it runs into big tree trunks and huge rocks, it is not obstructed by them, it just flows past them. It does not get obstructed. Like our state of mind does not get caught when it is not stagnant, when it is flowing, when it is free from being stuck on anything. Then it doesn't matter what obstruction it encounters, it doesn't get caught and stopped there. And from here comes endless, clear-minded functioning. Our ego, our activity of it, and the way of our deeper wisdom are not the same thing. In our mind, there is nothing to be caught by. There is, as he says, mind is not Buddha, wisdom is not the path. But if we think that we now know that, then it is like what Master Nansen is saying. It's not like that either. We can't think we know that. We can't know it. Master Rinzai says to the assembly, what is it that is hearing what is doing the talking? What is it that is hearing the talking? It is the Buddha nature, naturally hearing. But if we add on one single comment of an idea to that, what is he talking about, for example? Then already that has gone by the natural state of mind. With mental understanding, we are always getting caught on something which is dualistic. This path of all people is how all similarly hear the same exact way, how everyone similarly sees the exact same way, how everyone similarly tastes the exact same way. As Master Rinzai says, from this one great original light, there are 6 rays into which it is divided. These are our senses. Even when we are physically challenged and appear to be paralyzed and are unable to show any reaction, after years it has been the case where we become again able to speak and say that we have heard everything that was going around us, even though during those years we could not possibly speak about what we were experiencing or hearing. Even if they couldn't speak, our mind has no form, yet it uses these 6 senses. In our mouth, it becomes speaking. In our eyes, it becomes seeing. In our nose, it becomes smelling. And in our ears, it becomes hearing. In our hands, it becomes carrying things. In our feet, it becomes walking. Where is there anything missing there? Our deep mind ability gives life and function to all of our senses. We see a beautiful flower and we exclaim of its beauty. Mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. This is about our capability, equal in all people. Our true mind has no form, and so it cannot be decorated or adorned. And as soon as we think we understand it, it's gone. Understanding something is not the true way of deep mind. We sit and our legs hurt, and we're always thinking of everything all the time that we have to do next, all day. We would never encounter our true mind because we're always in that way of using it, only looking at what we are seeing, just that, and not where it is coming forth from. Mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. 2 kinds of intellect that we have. Two kinds of intelligence that we have. One is our social intelligence, and one is our true wisdom. That true wisdom is said to be what is there before our parents were even born. There was a disciple of Master Ryu whose name was Kyogen. Master Ryu told him to speak one word of truth. Kyogen tried and tried and tried. He was a well-studied, very intelligent monk. But his answers to Master Ryu were always so mental. He was always trying to explain. So Master Ryu was finally implored by Kyogen, please would he tell him the answer to this question, because he just couldn't figure it out. But of course, Master Ryu said to him, if I tell you the answer to this question, that will be my answer, and that is not your answer. And because of that, he was so disappointed and decided he just couldn't do this, and he left. He went away from Master Ryu, and he went and decided that for him, the best and most important practice was to clean the cemetery where the great master Nanyu Echu Zenji was buried. Yet he couldn't put down that question that he'd been asked by Master Ryu. And as he cleaned daily, he was always turning it over in his mind, always looking at that question constantly. He was asking it within. One day, he was taking out some of the trash that he had cleaned up, some of the rubble, and he threw it into the bamboo grove, when suddenly a piece of tile hit the bamboo and went clank. And as this happened, he was deeply awakened, completely, deeply awakened beyond any mental idea of it. The same is true for the Buddha when he saw the morning star. But both of them, when they awakened in this way, it was possible because they had purified their mind to the point of it being so clear and so transparent that this awakening was possible. Mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. It can only happen within when there are no more thoughts occurring at all. And then suddenly we are able to see it all clearly. But it can't happen when we are vague and fuzzy and foggy. It has to be clear and empty. But no matter what Master Nansen says, we have to realize it, to see how important it is for doing this, to let go of everything. And then we are able to be clear in our awareness totally. Mumon's commentary of Nansen, it has to be said that on getting old, he was lost to shame. Just opening his stinking mouth a little, he reveals his family shame. Even so, only a very few feel grateful for it. Mumon's commentary is then given. Is Nansen saying that? Really? His master, Baso Dwais Zenji, who himself said mind is as it is Buddha, and Nansen, who said himself that the everyday mind is the path, here he goes on like this. But this, in fact, is a reverse kind of praise for Nansen's words. Mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. He has to put it down so people who come later will not be caught on some kind of fakey thankfulness about this idea of mind is not Buddha or otherwise conspicuous emptiness. Any of these are liable to happen if he doesn't put it down. Nansen seems to be putting him down only, but actually he is praising him so that people to come will not take it at face value. He is putting an iron peg in to assure that does not happen. And then giving a poem. The sky is clear and the sun appears. Rain falls and the earth is moistened. Without restraint, he has explained everything. Yet how few are able to grasp it. We are all doing zazen. It cannot be shallow, elementary zazen, but not giving attention to anything at all, not acknowledging anything whatsoever. While we reach that face before our parents' birth, our original face, so rarely is there one who is able to go to that point with it. And how rarely is the Buddha's wisdom realized. We have to sit until we are not holding on to anything whatsoever. He asks this of everyone so that the sky can become clear and the sun then appears. Rain falls and the earth is moistened. Only then can our true compassion come through. We have to do it to this degree, or the Buddha Dharma will be used by everyone only for their own personal purposes. Master Baso Doitse himself says, mind as it is Buddha, but only coming from his well-realized state of mind could these words have come forth, as well as Nansen saying from his deep, clearest mind, everyday mind is the path. And Rinzai, who put it, in this 5-foot lump of red flesh, there is a true person of no rank, always coming in and going out. If you haven't seen it yet, see it now. All of the ancestors gave everything to guide us to become truly awakened, struggling to do this for all of us. Nansen saying, mind is not Buddha, wisdom is not Tao. Don't be deceived by these words. Don't be caught on an idea of a Buddha. Don't be caught on an idea of a path, but to clarify and realize this truth. But even when it is said, who is listening? And even when people think they have already realized this, have they really? Nansen said, mind is not Buddha. Wisdom is not Tao. We hear this and many think we get it. All mental. How many have actually realized this? Nansen feels this and wonders if there will be even anyone in this era who will be able to make use of this.